Okay, I think we might be back. I think. Possibly. Okay, sorry about that, folks. So, we're going to be joining to our form. And then we do need to also then get those tributary events that are going to have the related records that we want to inform check-in and parking and things like that. So we do basically just need to get the event that is in the correct template that is going to be whatever it is that you're. So in this case, it's going to be the information session that we're putting those check-in instructions in. But if you're adding things like a running tour, then you need a separate join to the specific event to get those related records. So we're just going to be doing that check-in and parking piece tonight, though. So we're just going to do another join, because this is where that person join comes in. And just say info session. And we're going to do a join form response from the person. We're not doing it to the join, because that form response joined to a form. We're not joining back to a form response. We're doing the form response from the person, because they signed up for that information session through the related event widget of this template. You could do just all events and forms. It's just a little bit easier to kind of migrate these. So we're just do form response, and you're going to have multiple form responses in your configurable joins data. So we're just going to say this subquery, so we know exactly when we're looking at the data table, it doesn't mush these two form response data tables into one. So it has a separate name. So it has a descriptive name as well. And we're just going to say that the actual base itself is going to be that. And then yeah, we're going to just do another join to the form from, so we do have this separated up here, so we're going to do a join, and we're going to name this one as well, this subquery. And then we want to make sure that we're getting the proper template. In the subquery, and it's information session. Oop. And then the student could, in theory, be registered for 2 across different days. Or so we want to make sure that we're also doing a comparison to make sure that the dates of these 2 events are the same. So we're going to say campus visit equals info session. And we're just going to change the comparison. And we're just do start var 2 forms. Now chances are they're not going to have actually the same time. So we want to make sure that the dates themselves are the same. And it's always nice to update the name of your export to specify that these are just dates and not date times. So to pull information from an information session, that has to be an information session template, and it has to be the same day of the event that we're sending this email out for. And now we can pull information from that event. And we could run a sort on that, though. Yeah, definitely need to run a sort on that. Because if they do have multiple, then you're going to want the most recent. So if they're signing up for like 2 in the future, that could definitely get a little weird. But you're having the filter for the same day, so it's going to pull the one that is relevant. But it's still nice to have the filter, the sort, though. So let's be the closest one with it being ascending. Yeah, we just added start date. It's just greater than or equal to today. Okay. So I'm gonna save this. Oh, I can't save this. I need to run stuff. Okay, hopefully I don't like hit escape or something or knock out of this. So we have our information session, and we're gonna add another join. And we're just gonna get the form of that information session response. And this is the form response, so we'll just name that. So we are reaching out to the information session that was, if they signed up for one through this event, basically that one. And now we also need to join to the related records that are associated with that information session. So we're going to do another subquery join here. And we're just going to call this related record data set row info check-in. And I'm just going to join related records dataset row. And we're going to do that to the information session, not the form that we're, not the umbrella that we're sending the communication out for, but that information session that's going to have those related records that inform things like this. So, so we're going to join to that. And we'll make that our base. And again, you kind of have limited filters. So we're going to do a partial match because the event might have multiple related records to it. So we just want the related record that is check-in. Is it capitalized on that? I did use capitalized, okay. So if you have multiple check-ins, that would be weird and could cause issues, but that would cause us issues no matter what. So we have our check-in here, and we're going to save. And we also want, we'll add our, yeah, we're not going to add parking. You can add parking if you want to just kind of make a copy of this, or if, again, you want to have that check-in, parking, cross-tab of instructions, which is helpful if you have a large campus or complicated, like this is how you get from this parking to this check-in, but we're not going to do that right now. We just want this check-in name. Okay. And so this gets you that check-in piece. If you want to, so maybe you were doing a running tour, you could have a separate deliver that's sending like the waiver and those kind of further instructions. You could do those kinds of pieces here as well. And let's just give this what the content block name is going to expect. Because again, labeling, categorizing your calls into the content block are going to be very helpful if you do a lot of these kinds of content block strategies. So now anytime a student uses your umbrella event to sign up for an event, and if you have like an information session at 10 a.m., you're adding the check-in is admissions, but maybe you change that. So now check-in is going to be at your rec center or whatever it is. Then the next time they get that 24-hour reminder, or if you want to send an email blast, you are just automatically going to use that updated check-in. Or if you have rotating check-ins throughout the day or parkings, it's always just going to be updated based off of what the person signed up for. So if you have 3 information sessions, they all have different parking instructions. Whatever related records you're adding to those individual information sessions is going to drive their content here. And we can just save that if we wanted to edit the message. We could just say check in. And then what do they call that field? There we go. So, and you wouldn't really need the check-in. But you could also have this driving a content block with instructions, which realistically is probably what you're going to do. But yeah, so yeah, there's some options here that you could do this with. But I think this is very helpful. So you get your park-in, check-in, you get those individualized, tailored, like I said, if you're asking students to download an application or directing them to download a PDF that's a URL on your website, you have the flexibility of adding these related records to those individual events that then drive your tailored communications and your template comms. So these are 3 different ways to use related records on events that allow you to have that really human-centered, student-centered touch to be able to communicate to students in a way that is focused on their experience, but doesn't require a ton of manual emails and a ton of manual work on the day-to-day from the staff side to really be able to curate and generate those emails. And there's a lot of kind of branches off of these projects that you can continue to work on. This was a pretty bare bones sprint through these 3, and it still took me over an hour. That little pause notwithstanding, I think it still would have been over an hour. But thank you so much for joining me on the second Gilded Build. I really appreciate you joining me on whether it's these training videos or the ForgeWorks Grimoire Tarot trainings for Slate or the Workbench workthroughs or the other stuff for the podcast, the Innovation Forge with Inside the Funnel or the interviews or the Forge Bellows or the OR reports. I have had so much fun putting together different types of content, the Fieldsmith Register, the comic books, the books that I've written. And if any of those are resonating with you, please let me know as I kind of continue throwing the spaghetti at the wall to see what kind of sticks with the audience, what folks are liking. But yeah, if you liked this Gilded Build, if you want more trainings like this, let me know. Let me know what you would want them on. I have a few already kind of in the works that I want to get to, time permitting. But thank you for joining me. Come back next time to see what else is in the Gilded Build. Have a great night.